I am Damien from Pulling Money Trading. If you're just joining, please click the subscribe button, press the notification bell, leave a comment. This will help the video reach more persons. Alright, I have some trading rules that I normally read before getting into the technical analysis. Alright, this week I'm going to be doing technical analysis for December 19 to 24. Right, I'm going to be doing Gbp Usd, Gbp Jpy, EUR USD, USD Canadian, Bitcoin, Gold, and Ethereum. Alright, so let's get into the trading rules. Trading rules. The aim is to consistently pull money out of the market. No trading strategy is 100% effective. Don't risk more than 2% of your account balance on any one trade. Use at least a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio when taking a trade. Eliminate the fear of losing. Losing is a must in trading. Trade your system over and over, win or lose. Ensure that your trading system have at least a 50% win rate. Making money trading solely depends on the trader, not the trading system. It takes military style discipline to be a successful trader. Alright, so I have a master course available for sale. You can send me an email, right? And we can work something out. So let's move over to the chart. Right, so I'm on the US dollar Canadian. Alright, so in my last video I did a technical analysis on the US CAD. The US CAD was in a bullish trend, made a deep pullback, right? Said the US CAD would come back into this area right here, possibly make a pullback into this area. However, the pullback, it did make a pullback, right? But not as big as I expected. I also said that if it managed to break through this area, it will move up into this area. Right? So if you're a day trader, you would have gotten some pips out of this area right here. US CAD came into this area and moved down approximately about 300 pips, right? No, approximately 500 pips. So if you're a day trader and you trade this pullback right here, you'd have gotten approximately 500 pips. So the market came into this area twice, right? Moved down about 200 pips first, came back into this area again, moved down again. Alright, one thing I want to point out into this technical analysis right here. This area right here, right, I draw this area right here as a area that the market was going to gain some resistance, which it did, make a deep pullback. Alright, but this would have been a losing trade because the market pushed through this area before making the deep pullback. Right, so one small detail was overlooked, right? In the last analysis, I forgot to include this wick. So the wick is very important, right? So this was what caused the trade to be a losing trade. Analysis was on point, but one small detail was overlooked, which is the wick. So bring the zone up to the wick, and this would have been perfect, right? See, the market came right here and then pushed down. All right, so let's dive into the analysis for this week. I'm going to go to the weekly chart, right, to get some directional bias on this market. All right, so the weekly chart is still bullish. Market is trying to break back into this bull trend right here, right? US CAD is still pushing bullish. So I'm going to go down to my daily time frame, right, in order to get my bearings. So because the GBP USD, right, is bullish, what I normally do to make the technical analysis simple, I normally use the known to find the unknown when I'm doing technical analysis, right? When you use mathematical principle, when you're doing algebra, right? You normally, mathematics teacher will normally tell you that you should use the known to find the unknown, right? So what is known in the market is that this year right here, market break through this year right here, right? And the market break made a swing in this area right here, right? The fact that the market made a swing in this area right here, this is telling us something, that a lot of buying pressure is right in this area right here. That's the reason why the market made a swing, right? So this is a known factor, right? That buying pressure is in this area right here. That's the reason why the market made a swing, a push upward, right? So what I want to do is identify this area right here, right, as a swing level, right, on the daily time frame. Right, this area is a swing level. All right. So the next known factor is that the market just break above this area right here, right? This area right here, the market just break above this area right here. I'm on the daily time frame, okay? So the fact that the market just break above this area right here, want to make a mark as well, right at this point. All right. So we have two levels that we identify, right? The market break above this area right here. So the fact that the market is going upward, this area right here is a possibility that this area right here should act as support. If the trend continues, if the bull trend continues, this area should act as support, right? So the other known factor, right? The other known factor is that this area right here is an area of resistance, right? So the market is gaining resistance in this area right here, right? So what you want to do, you want to make a mark in this area right here. Right, so we have three known factors right here. All right, so zoom this out. Right, the market is making higher highs and higher lows, make a deep pullback, which this is regarded as a lower low. However, the market then break back into the uptrend, creating a higher high, which is higher than this high, right? And then a lower high, right, which is higher than this lower low, which confirm the upward trend again, right? So on the daily time frame, these are the levels, right, that we will be watching on the daily time frame, right? So we are going to watch this level, right, for the market to, we're going to watch the market to come into this level. We are not swing trading, but this is a resistant area, so it's a possibility, right, that the market is going to come back to this area, right, in order to test this area. So if the market fail to break through this area right here, right, the market will push down and come back into this area right here, which is 1.2862 to 1.28028, and make a retest of this area. So if the market fail to support itself in this area, which is 1.28622, 1.28028, it will break and come back into this area, right, which is 1.2778, 1.2760, in order to test this area right here again, which is a swing level, right? So for this week, I have the US CAD to push up into this area right here, right, for a retest and try to break through this area, right? So persons who are trading position traders, right, you can wait for the market to come into this area and make a retest, right, and then wait for a pullback into this area for a entry, right? If you are going to trade this analysis, ensure that you wait for your confirmation. All right, so I'm going to go down to the 4-hour time frame now. Right, so on the 4-hour time frame, right, I can narrow this area down on the 4-hour time frame, right? I can narrow it down, but I'm not going to narrow it down. I'm just going to leave it like that, right? So if you are trading the trend, right, it is wise for you to wait and see how the market react when it make the retest in this area up in this area, right? Wait for a pullback into this area right here. Wait for a pullback and a possible entry, right? So anywhere in this area, which is 1.28431, right, the market is likely to make a retest. If it fails to break through this area, it should pull back into this area for support in order to push further up, right? Remember, no strategy is 100% effective, no analysis is 100% accurate. So if you are going to trade this analysis, wait for your confirmation. Don't just jump into a trade. wait and see how the market will react to the resistance level, which is this level up top. Wait and see how the market will react to this support level before making your trade. Alright, so I have a master course on entry triggers. Feel free to send me an email if you're interested in purchasing my master course. Right, let me just put a long position on here. Right, so market is expected to come back into this area right here. For a retest if it failed to break the level up top. Right. If you're a day trader, this should be a good opportunity. Right, if the market pull back into this area and it support itself, you should be able to profit. Right, so that's it for the US CAD. Let's move over to the gold. So in my last analysis, right, I have the gold to pull back into this area and make a retest of this area or possible breakthrough this area, which it did. So the gold came into this area, break through this area, creating a lower low, and then push through this area, come back into this area for a retest as expected. This is where I had my long position set up. Right, the gold failed to break through this area and is pushing down back into this area for a retest. Right, so my analysis was I was correct. Right, so let me go over to the weekly time frame for my analysis. Let me just zoom this up. So same technical analysis principle apply. Right, so the weekly time frame, the gold is in a bear trend and is trying to showing sign that it want to break out of the bear trend. Right, so until it confirm the breakout, still have the gold in a bear trend. Right, so let me go down to the daily time frame. Right, so for the daily time frame, right, same principles apply. Right, use the known in order to find the unknown. Right, so this area right here is regarded as a turning point in the market or a lower low. Right, so what you do, you draw a zone right at this level right here. Right, this area right here, we have the trade already set up from last week, is known as the support area because the market was in a downtrend. It break through this level right here, push down, and it's coming back to this area for support. Right, this area up here is also a support or resistance area pending. If the market reverse and push through this area will act as resistance, right? So for now, we are just focusing on these three areas, right? This area right here is a swing level. This area right there, where the market breakthrough, should act as a resistant. The fact that the market is in a bear trend, this area should act as a resistant, right? So if you're a trend trader, right, this should have been the trade that you should have been in. However, the fact that the market is trying to break out of the bear trend and into a bull trend, this area, you'll have to watch this area right here. Persons who are trading long term, position traders, this area is the area to watch, which is 1793.38, 1780.2. Market should come back into this area for a retest of this area. If this area support the goal should push further up and try to break out of the bear trend. If this area fail to support the goal should push further down into this area. Alright, so go down to the 4-hour time frame. So as you can see, gold is already tested this area and is pushing down back into this area. So this area, the fact that the gold break above the lows, the lower high, is a sign that the gold is trying to reverse, right? So for this week, you should watch how the gold react to this area right here. If this area support the gold will push back into this area for another retest. This area fail to resist, it will break through this area and move up into this area. Alright, so I have the goal to come back into this area for a retest. So that's it for the gold. Let's move over to GBP USD. So for the GBP USD, in my last video I said the GBP USD would come into this area, gain some resistance and push back into this area, which it did. The GBP USD came into this area right here, break through this area, push back into this area, and was ranging into between this area and this area. So I was correct. However, the GBP USD then break through this area, came into this area for support and is pushing down. So my analysis was correct. Alright, so let's move over to the weekly time frame. So the weekly time frame for the GBP USD is still bearish. Let's move over to the daily time frame. So for the daily time frame, we're going to use the known in order to find the unknown. So this area right there is regarded as a swing level. So the GBP USD came into this area, pushed down, which is telling us that a lot of sell order, selling pressure is in this area. Right, so this area right here should act as resistant, but the fact that the GBP USD came into this area multiple times, this area might not hold, right? Because if you're a boxer, the more punch you get, the weaker you become. So this area is the GBP USD is likely to break through this area and push further down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and find a opposing swing level. So this area right here, so this area right here is the swing level, right? So this area should act as resistant if the GBP USD break through this area right here, right? So we are expecting to get some resistance at 1.31454 to 1.31012. So far this week I have the GBP to push further down and possible break through this level. However, if the GBP USD fail to break through this level, it will support itself and push further up and try to make a reversal. Let's move over to the 4-hour time frame. Now on the 4-hour time frame, if this area support the GBP USD, then the GBP USD should pull back into this area for a retest. So the fact that the GBP USD is in a bear trend, we would look for a sell trade right here if it pull back into this area. Now remember that no technical analysis is 100% effective, so if you're going to trade my analysis, wait for confirmation. We have a master course available for sale which talk about confirmation, so feel free to send me an email. Let's move over to the Bitcoin. Now in my last video I said the Bitcoin will come back into this era for a retest, which it did. The Bitcoin came back into this era right here, failed to break through, came back into this era for a retest, and it was ranging between both eras. So I was correct. Right, so let's move over to the weekly time frame. Now for the weekly time frame, the Bitcoin is trying to break out of a bull trend and break into a bear trend. Let's move over to the daily time frame. So for the daily time frame, the Bitcoin is bearish, creating a series of lower highs and lower lows. So for this week, I'm going to identify the swing level using the known to find the unknown. So this area right here is regarded as a swing level. So the Bitcoin is expected to break through this level right here and push further down. So this area right here is our next swing level, which is a lower high. Right, so this area right here should act as resistance for the Bitcoin. Come on. Now as you can see, the Bitcoin already test this area once, failed to break through and made a big price rejection. So the Bitcoin is expected to come back into this area once more for another retest. So the Bitcoin is expected to break through this area right here and come push down to 42,495.73. Now let's move over to the 4-hour time frame. So this area right here is regarded as a lower high. So the Bitcoin is continuing to making lower highs and lower lows. So the Bitcoin is expected to push further down. As you can see, the Bitcoin has already closed below this lower low right here, which confirm a continuation of the bear trend. So as a trend trader, you should wait for the Bitcoin to pull back into this area for entry. Right, so depending on how far the Bitcoin push down, this low right here should act as support. So right here in this area, which is 46148.56, wait for the Bitcoin to push down and pull back into this area for support. So that's it for the Bitcoin. Let me just put a short position right here in the event. In the event the Bitcoin should pull back into this area for a retest. That's it for the Bitcoin. Let's move over to the Gbp Jpy. My analysis is getting better and better each week. Now in my last video I said the Gbp Jpy will pull back into this area for a retest, which it did. Gbp Jpy pull back into this area. Look at this long wick right here, right into this area, then push back into this area again, which was expected, then push down before breaking through this area. In my last video I said the Gbp Jpy, if this area failed to support the Gbp Jpy, it will push up into this area, which it did. But my analysis was correct. So the reason why this area was an area of value, because the Gbp Jpy break through this area right here, push all the way down. Right, so this area become support. Look, voila, well done. Right, so let's move over to the weekly time frame. For the weekly time frame, the Gbp Jpy is in a bear trend, break the bullish trend line and is pushing down. So pull back to the trend line, price rejection, and is pushing downward. So let's move over to the daily time frame. So remember, what we are doing is using the known in order to find the unknown. So right here is regarded as a swing level. Just clear this zone right there. Alright, so This area right here on the daily time frame is regarded as a man. Right, so this entire area right here is regarded as a swing level. Right, so this is telling us that a lot of selling pressure is in this area, which push the market further down. Now this area right here was acting as resistant. So as you can see, the GBP Jpy test this area once. This is the area right here. Right, so the GBP Jpy test this area once, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is a strong resistant area. Now the GBP Jpy is expected to come back into this area for another retest and possibly break through this area and push further down into this area. Alright, so let's move over to the 4-hour time frame. Now this area right here is regarded as a swing area. So if you're a day trader, this area right here should act as minor resistant. So there's a possibility that you can get some pip out of this area anywhere between let's see, 150, 138, anywhere between 500 pips. If this area occurs resistant, you should be able to get at least 500 pips before the market push further down or reverse and make another retest into this area. So the GBP Jpy on the 4-hour time frame is making so the GBP Jpy started a uptrend, but it break back. Is showing sign that it want to break out of this slight up move and push further down. So the GBP Jpy should come back into this area. if you're a short-term trader. Gbp Jpy, if this era occurs resistant, you should be able to make some pips from this era. 900 at least, 906 pips. So let's move over to the Euro USD. In my last technical analysis, I said the Euro USD would push down into this area and gain some resistance, which it did. I also said that if this area resists, the Euro USD will push up into this area, which it did. So my analysis was correct. Let's move over to the weekly time frame. So the Euro USD is in a bear trend. Let's move over to the daily time frame. Alright, so same principles apply. We use the known to find the unknown. Right, so this area right there, is regarded as our swing level. This area right there is regarded as our resistance. Let's move over to the 4-hour time frame. Right, so the Euro USD seem to be ranging between 1.1315 and 1.12322. So the Euro USD is expected to come back into this area for another retest. If this area fail to resist the Euro USD, it will push further down. However, if this area resists the Euro USD, it will push back into this area because it's in a range. That's it for the Euro USD. So let's move over to the Ethereum. In my last video, I said the Ethereum will push back into this area for a retest, which it's heading into this area, creating lower highs and lower lows, continuing the bear trend. Let's move over to the weekly time frame. So the Ethereum was in a strong bull trend. However, the Ethereum is trying to break out of this bull trend and break into a bear trend. Let's move over to the daily time frame. So what we are going to be doing is use the known to find the unknown. So this area right here is regarded as our swing level, which is the known. And this area right here is also a swing level because the market tested this area and big price rejection. So the Ethereum is expected to push further down if it respects the bear trend, taking out this area. Let's move over to the 4-hour time frame. So the Ethereum is making lower highs and lower low. There's something to note right here. This area right here is regarded as a swing level. So the Ethereum came into this area for a retest. Price was rejected, which is indicating that there's a strong buy pressure in this area. Alright, so watch out for a retest of this area. If the Ethereum fail to break through this area, it will pull back into this area for another retest. But however, Ethereum is expected to respect the bear trend and push further down, taking out this level. So that's it for the Ethereum. Watch for a pullback into this area. Please subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think of my technical analysis. I have a master course available for sale. Please send me an email if you are interested. Thanks for watching. See you next week.